I want to start today's video off with a question, and I want you to put the answer to that question in the comment section below. What is the single most expensive part of your current digital marketing stack? Is it your shopping cart? Is it your web hosting? Is it some really awesome plugin that you use? Or is it your email marketing solution like ConvertKit or Drip or ActiveCampaign or any of those that you might be using? Go ahead, I'll wait. Put the answer down below. Now, if you're like most people who have a list that's a few thousand or more people on your email marketing list, it's probably your email marketing solution is the most expensive part of your entire online business. And that's for good reason, right? That's your lifeblood. That is the single most valuable asset that you own. The list of people who know you, like you, and trust you enough to allow you to send them marketing messages. Well, in today's video, I want to break down and give you a first impression look at Groundhogg, which is a new open source and really exciting email marketing platform and marketing automation solution for WordPress. And in this little breakdown, I'll walk you through and let you kind of see behind the scenes of Groundhogg real fast. I'll also give you 8 considerations, some that are in Groundhogg's favor, some that are not in Groundhogg's favor, and help you make the right decision if this is a good decision for you, a good option for you to reduce your costs and increase your possibilities with your email marketing solutions. Okay, let's go ahead and get into the 8 different considerations you need to have. The first one being cost. Let's just call it like it is. Email marketing can be pricey, and I want to break down the math for you a little bit using 2 of its probably most popular competitors, ActiveCampaign and Drip, and let's let Groundhogg get a good quick win in on this little comparison video to let you kind of understand why this is so worth talking about today. So what I've done is I've done a little bit of mental math and put together a couple different scenarios depending on which platform you're using and how large of a list that you have. So what we have here is for a list of 1,000, 10,000, 25,000, or 50,000 people, good job out of you for getting a list that size. These are the monthly costs. Now, I know some solutions allow you to do annual billing, but I wanted to keep this as close to apples as possible. So going across here, if you have a smaller list of 1,000 people or less, ActiveCampaign for their plus tier, they have a couple different pricing tiers. I went with the one that had the CRM and had kind of the most equal feature set amongst these here together, is $70 per month. Drip is looking at $49 per month, and Groundhogg is coming in at $26 per month. And I'll talk about that pricing in Groundhogg once we kind of go through this table here real fast and explain to you why it costs that much or that little. For a list of 10,000, now you start to really understand the differences here. ActiveCampaign and a list of 10,000 is totally achievable. A lot of online businesses, bloggers, influencers, YouTubers, whatever, they'll get to that 10,000 mark without too much trouble. ActiveCampaign gets you up to $250 per month, Drip $184 per month, and Groundhogg at a measly $35 per month. 25,000, again, the numbers get even more ridiculous. About $400 for ActiveCampaign, $370 for Drip, and $50 for Groundhogg. And at 50,000 per month, they don't even show you the price in ActiveCampaign, which is not a good sign. Drip is almost $700, and Groundhogg is just at $75. So how did I arrive at that pricing for Groundhogg? Is this solution free? What the heck is going on here? So there's a lot of different ways for you to set up Groundhogg, and let me go ahead and just go to their website here and show you a brief kind of overview. So basically what this is a plugin in WordPress where you can send emails, create marketing automations, tag and segment your audience, do fun little social proof pop-ups like that as well. A lot of things that you can do. When you go to the pricing page, a couple things you get to look at here is first and foremost, how much does it cost for your subscribers? If you have 1 subscriber, 2 subscribers, or 500,000 subscribers, what is the price per subscriber? Nothing. That part is actually free. And I love that they do this because it kind of blows my mind a little bit of how the pricing structure works on a lot of marketing platforms. They charge you based on the number of users that you have in your database, which I guess you could think it does make sense, but on the other hand, it doesn't, because actually having more people in a database is nothing. It doesn't really matter. That's just more lines in a table somewhere. It doesn't actually increase the cost of the server unless you're doing things with those subscribers. And so the way that Groundhogg does their pricing is just adding the plugin and having people in your database doesn't cost you anything. That's going to cost you a little bit of server capacity and resources on your web server. So you might need to upgrade your server costs over time, which is just natural for any online business. What it does, though, is it simply asks you to pay for the emails that you're sending. So if you have 100,000 people on your list and you send them 0 emails, you are charged 0. But if you email every person every day for 365 days a year, you pay for those credits. Now, in terms of paying for credits, how does that work? So like an email marketing solution, like Mailjet, Postmark, there's a lot of these transactional email servers where you can subscribe and you can get basically credits, or you can send 10,000 email credits or SMS credits. We'll talk about SMS in a second. But long story short, you buy it like one of those cell phones that you get the minutes, you buy the minutes, and if it takes you a day to use them or 3 months to use them, you earn all those email credits. That is the way they recommend you sign up for their service. It's not the way that I have signed up for their service, though, and I'll show you how I've done it. But this is a nice way. This is really going to be one of their revenue generators, because what they're able to do is purchase this email bandwidth from Amazon SES, Simple Email Service, and then in the simplicity of setting it up for you and doing some of the back-end connection work for you, they can give you some convenience and in return make a profit, kind of like an arbitrage strategy of charging you 0.05 cents per credit, whereas I think it's like 0.0001 cent per credit if you go through Amazon directly. Sorry, that's all geeky stuff. The other way you can do it, though, is you can do all the Amazon SES plumbing yourself, which takes about a day, if that, to kind of make sure it's all working and set up and all that good stuff. And then you can be simply paying Amazon, I think it's 10 cents per 10,000 emails that you send. So when I was going through doing the quick math here, again, if you're emailing somebody 10 times per month and it costs you 10 cents per every 1,000 emails that you send, the cost of moving those things around really is not that big of a deal. You can send all the freaking emails you want and you're barely going to see a hit on your email sending costs. But I do have another cost here, just to kind of fully make you aware of what's going on. To make the functionality similar across Groundhogg and ActiveCampaign and Drip and all of that, I did add on this extension pack. So Groundhogg offers, it's the classic freemium model. The core plugin is free, but to get extensions and increased functionality, you can purchase extensions or the all access pass. And we'll talk about the individual extensions in a second, but essentially I added on all the extension costs at $300 per year, which allows you to put all the extensions onto a single WordPress website. And that's what that was the majority of the cost. I think that was $25 per month right there. That then the email sending on top is really the only thing that scaled it up from $26 up to $75 per month. So that was an assumption. If you send emails every day to every person, your cost would be a little bit higher. If you only send one email a week to everybody, then your cost would be a little bit lower. But ultimately, you can't. If you got 50,000 people on your email list, you're gonna be fine. You're gonna be fine, right? In terms of cost. The question becomes on some of these other points we'll talk about in Groundhogg. So the second consideration is their track record. How long has this company been around? Can you trust them? What's going on behind the scenes? Again, these are my opinions, and I'm really just getting to understand the company and see. Adrian is the founder, and he's a really bright guy, really passionate about democratizing email marketing, because I think that when you got pricing like this on Drip side and ActiveCampaign side, there's just it makes you wonder if you're getting what it costs. I know it's profitable, but how much of it makes you wonder about some of the pricing model within that industry, right? But now, to be fair, if we look at, this is a screenshot I took just before recording. So they don't have a ton of active installations. This is one of those where you have to be okay with being an early adopter when you're signing up for Groundhogg, because they're still on version 1. They're working on a release of version 2.0, which is going to improve a bunch of different things. But they're kind of in startup phase. So while I'll show you some of the functionality on my website in a minute, I just want you to be aware that if you're one of those who has a mission critical business where nothing can fail and everything has to go out exactly like you want it to, realize you're getting into an open source environment where some of the support and some of the expectation is going to be on you to make sure everything's working right. This is a plugin on your website, which means that there can be conflicts and all sorts of fun stuff going on depending on what else is kind of mucking around in the dashboard of your WordPress installation. So on the track record side, I'm going to call this a negative on Groundhogg simply because I don't think enough installations have happened to give them that critical mass of seeing all the different variations of how this tool can be implemented. All right, in terms of functionality, so this is where we talk about extensions. Groundhogg has amazing functionality. In terms of what it can do, it's a little bit mind-blowing. Because this is built into WordPress, it has the ability to integrate with all kinds of existing WordPress tools to give you this really slick process. And we'll get into my website in just a second here, but just to show you, they can do lead scoring like Drip and Active Campaign can do, where based on what actions people take, you can add scores and segment people based on how many points they have, which is pretty awesome. It's pretty rare to see an email marketing platform also so quickly and easily integrate in with Twilio, which is an SMS sending service. Again, you can also use their existing SMS sending service, but what this allows you to do is not only in your funnel see which emails you're sending to people when, but also see which text messages you're sending to people and when. And this is awesome if you're running webinars, because what a lot of people want to do, especially if it's a live webinar, you want people to show up, right? So sending email reminders as well as text message reminders is a good idea, obviously. You can integrate a booking calendar directly onto your website. Sales pipeline, which is kind of like that Trello board where you can move people from phase to phase in a selling cycle. So again, if you're a blogger, this might not be as big of a deal for you, but if you do high cost, low volume deals where you're really working each individual lead specifically, a sales pipeline is what you use. And that's where HubSpot and Active Campaign has this feature built in where those tools are really useful. Obviously, Zapier integration. So not only now do you integrate with everything in WordPress, but you can integrate with everything else in the world with Zapier. Although I'm not a huge fan of Zapier, if I'm being honest. A lot of different form stylings, social proof, which is what you saw kind of popping up in the bottom corner there. Email countdown timer, so that when you send emails, you can also have some scarcity built into those emails with a countdown timer, which is animated and looks really cool. So a lot of cool things. And then a WooCommerce integration, which is a big one for what we'll be talking about in future videos with cart flows and how you can set up really your entire business in WordPress, which is pretty cool looking. So a lot of functionality there. Let's go ahead and show you a little bit on my website where I'm running some tests. I'm kind of, poking around and doing the grunt work for you and figuring all this stuff out. So let's give a brief rundown of how this works, because this is really different from other email marketing platforms, right? Like if you're in ConvertKit, you're not expecting to see your emails inside your WordPress dashboard, but that's exactly what happens here, where you can see all of your Groundhogg contacts, all of your tags for your subscribers and what status they're in can all be found here and can be added in directly, which is pretty intuitive. Super links is like tracking links where you can create a link that goes to a particular place on your website. And when somebody clicks on that link, you can add a tag, initiate automations, do a lot of really exciting things. And what's great about this is in most email marketing systems, like I'm not picking on ConvertKit, I'll use MailerLite as this example. Like when you create one of these links, it has to come from an email. Like you have to click on that link from within an email in order for the automations and the tags to get triggered and added. But with Groundhogg, because it's all site tracking and cookies and all sorts of really cool techie stuff going on here, you can put this directly into a blog post or directly onto a landing page of your website. And so long as there's a cookie on the browser of the subscriber who's on there, it's going to be able to identify them and do all these automations based on what they're doing on your website as well. So it's stronger because it's so tightly integrated with WordPress. It gives you some pretty cool functionality. Broadcast is where you can take an email and send it directly from your WordPress dashboard and schedule it to go out at a particular time. Emails is where you actually craft the email itself. So you can see some of the emails I've made here, and we want to go and make an email because that's obviously one of the first things we all want to see. Like, how do you actually make an email inside of WordPress? So here they give you a lot of different templates. So you can see calls to action, emails, plain text emails, newsletters, excitements, gratitude letters. And it's great because it kind of gives you something to go off of. So let's say you want to write a new excitement generator, which I don't think I've ever clicked this button before. Let's see what the excitement generator is all about. It will give you the editor here, where you can see, it gives you some thought bubbles, kind of like what you're used to with other email marketing platforms. They have short codes and replacement codes where you can add personalization within and throughout the email. You can actually add header, like, paragraph H1, H2s. I don't think you're going to try to SEO your email, but you can, a very similar editor to standard WordPress, what we're used to seeing. And I understand that in the next version, they're actually going to have the exact same editor as what the WordPress editor is for sending emails, which will be nice and a nice streamlined way of doing things. You can add blocks in to kind of design your emails. You can add a spacer in and increase the height of that space. And it's all very intuitive. Like, this works really, really, really well. Add images in, buttons in, all sorts of cool stuff. And you can see a list of all the fields that you can dynamically put into your email there. So you can create emails, mark them as ready, and go ahead and launch those suckers and send them off through the broadcast area. SMS, I haven't really dove into myself. Funnels, we'll talk about in a second, and then some other things we'll talk about. So it's a pretty full-featured list of tools that you can do within the WordPress dashboard here. Now let's talk about automations. And automations is really what makes or breaks any email marketing platform, because we don't have time to craft every email for every subscriber individually. That's why we get this tool, so it can do that work for us and on a smart schedule. So if we go into funnels here, let's just take a quick look here. And what these funnels essentially do is allow you to, and funnel is kind of, at this point, it's overused, right? Like, this is just a marketing automation process. And it is a funnel because you start with most people at the beginning, and then it tapers off towards the end. But you can link this in with your sales funnel. You can do all sorts of things. But what a funnel is in Groundhogg is the ability for you to start from a template. So if you're launching a webinar, if you're giving away a lead magnet, if you're starting from scratch, feedback request, all sorts of cool things. So let's say, for example, we want to start with a lead magnet download. We can start building. You can always start from scratch, but I like that they give you these options, these starting points here. And what it's going to do is build out an entire workflow. And I like this little canvas. It's simple, it's kind of retro, but it's very intuitive, at least to me, from within the WordPress dashboard. So what happens here is you start from top to bottom. And this adds in everything you would need to do a lead magnet, where it's going to give you a form, and you can actually design the form. I'm not a huge fan of the fact that it's really doing like HTML rows and columns, and it integrates with, I'll talk about integrations in the next point here, but the default form builder is not fantastic. I'm not a big fan. So you definitely want to use one of the integrations that it has, which is plenty. So you'll start with a form. You'll send an email confirmation immediately. It'll wait to see if they picked it up. If not, they'll try to send it again. But as soon as the email is confirmed, they have these blue benchmarks or triggers or whatever you want to call them. They're basically pull events, where if they confirm on the first time, it's going to pull them all the way to this step in the funnel, and then they'll continue, where it'll send the lead magnet. And again, if they open the lead magnet, it'll continue down here. So you've got a lot of different functionality you can do within these funnels, and you can basically you can craft a huge funnel that has these strategic pull-throughs where you can send people to certain places, and it'll really create this intricate experience for your users without making it too complex on you. So some of the things you can do within these automations is, I'm bouncing around here. Because this is integrated with WordPress, you have options like whenever there's a new user created on your website, like if this contact becomes a user, you can pull them through to a certain place and pull them through here. And so you can say, whenever this person subscribes as a subscriber, move them all the way down here. So we can say becomes a subscriber. So what you're doing here is you're crafting a customer journey, and you can do it from the beginning all the way through the end of purchasing your products. So what you can say is, if they've become a subscriber and eventually they visit your sales page, now they're getting really close to wanting to be a customer. So you can pull them down here And when they see a specific page on your website with a partial or exact match, then you can move them into a different part of your customer journey. So a really cool amount of things you can do. You can obviously delay amount of times between actions. It's a pretty full-featured tool. What it doesn't do is some of the branching logic that you can see in some automation systems, where you can have forking paths where somebody can go, but you can kind of build out something similar using these pull-throughs in a creative way. So automations is pretty awesome. When you combine the fact that it's site tracking and it's integrated in with your WordPress site, so it knows when somebody becomes a user on your WordPress site natively, there's some pretty interesting things you can do there. All right, integrations. So this is a tale of two cities. So there's the native integration side, and then there's the shortcut here, which is WP Fusion. So on the native side, you have to come over here to see what it natively integrates with. And here you can see easy digital downloads, WooCommerce, Gravity Forms, contact form, etc. So if you get the all access pass, you have a pretty good list of things that Groundhogg can integrate with. But what happens if it doesn't? Like, let's just be honest. That's where WP Fusion comes in, which is a premium tool. I like it. I like it a lot. It simplifies some things and it makes some things way more complicated. So it's one of those things where you have to figure out if it's right for your business. But what this does is it integrates 66 different plugins with a ton of different email marketing platforms, one of which, luckily, is Groundhogg. So this is a tool that allows you to really put some even deeper integration between your blog, your shop, and your email marketing system, and it kind of links it all together using tags as that intermediary step. So the fact that WP Fusion works with Groundhogg and all that is going to be on your WordPress installation gives you probably the tightest connection point, the tightest way for your email and your website to be working together. So that's a plus on Groundhogg side for sure. So it's email marketing, right? Email marketing, the most important thing is, do your emails get there? And so this is actually a little snapshot of my testing Amazon email sending service dashboard. And you can see deliveries, rejects, bounces, complaints. Long story short, the email marketing service is not going to be the biggest thing that impacts your email deliverability. What you put in the emails, when you send the emails, and your reputation as a person in the interwebs is going to be a much larger impact on your email deliverability than the tool itself that you're sending it from. Some things people say, plain text emails tend to get higher deliverability than all these fancy newsletters, which is in Groundhogg's favor because their email builder is geared towards doing more plain text types of emails. So they're doing what they can, and it's just up to us to do what we can to make sure our emails get delivered. But again, using Amazon SES, that's the tool that most all-in-one solutions use. That's the infrastructure and the backbone that all those tools use as well for their email sending. We talked about templates. I like that there are so many different templates. They show 9 here, but one feature I haven't talked about yet when it comes to templates is if you're one of those who likes to really get out there and use other services, marketplaces to get your brand out there, you've got another cool opportunity here. So if I go into the funnels as well, they have this feature called Marketplace and a feature called Import Funnel. So let's talk about each one of these individually. So I think this is kind of empty right now because, again, this is early days. But over time, you will be able to submit your own funnels that you've built out using Groundhogg and share them or sell them using the Marketplace feature here, where people can find you and can get some ideas from you and to steal some inspiration from you, and you could get paid for it, or at least get your brand out there as well from the Marketplace. So that's a pretty cool feature. I think that's common in places like Kartra, where you can buy and sell funnels, and I think ClickFunnels has something very similar as well. So that's a Marketplace feature, but they also have this Import Funnel feature, and this one is like super exciting. So what this means is you can basically, as an opt-in or lead magnet, or your own product that you sell on your Cartflow store, your WooCommerce store, you can export a funnel that you've built and then sell it or offer it up as a freebie, and other people can import that into their own WordPress installation. And when you do that, you get all the emails, you get all the automations, you get the tags, you get all that cool stuff that is brought into their platform as well. So if you're one of those funnel builders who likes to teach funnel builders how to build better funnels, sorry, I had to. This is a pretty cool feature here that is within their template library. Now, so the previous one was a good one. Now let's talk about something that might not be so awesome. Server impact. This is one that I can't say I have the full answer for you. And I don't think anybody really does yet, but how will this scale up over time? Now, talking to Adrian and the group over at Groundhogg, they say that up until you get to that 25, 30,000 email list size, you should see minimal impact on your website. But I don't know. I have not tested that large of a list with this tool. You might have to pay more for hosting, and that's just kind of expected, but you're saving a lot of money on the other side, and you might be bringing some simplicity into your website by using this tool. So that's one of those things. It's just a consideration. I don't have the answer for you here, but it's something you need to think about for your own particular business. Luckily, there's something you can easily do to reduce server impact, and that's by using an external cron job, which is way too techy for the contents of this video. I'll probably do another one on this later on, but essentially what this does is it takes some of the WordPress server load off, and it lets a different server tell your website when to do something. I don't fully understand how it all works myself. I set it up, it works, I follow the documentation, and my emails go out every minute, which I think is good enough. So that's something you can do there as well. All right, guys, so that is my first look and 8 of the first things that come to my mind when I look at a new software like Groundhogg. It's certainly exciting. I have it set up on my website right now where I've got WooCommerce, CartFlows, Groundhogg, WP Fusion, LearnDash, all talking together. I don't know if that's the right solution. It works. It's pretty, as in like the geekiest way possible. It's sexy, but it also makes you wonder, is that too many touch points? I'm curious what you think. So again, I want to know, what is your most expensive part of your digital marketing stack? What are you using for your email marketing right now? What do you think about it? What do you like? What do you dislike about your current email marketing system? Put that in the comments below. And what do you think about Groundhogg? Is this something that has a bright future in the WordPress world, or is it one that is too risky for putting your business on? I don't know. I'm testing it. I don't know if I'll be testing it for a long time. I'll keep you guys up to date. I'll stay transparent with you. I'm excited for it. I think that democratizing Groundhogg, like the best thing that can happen is Groundhogg becomes the WooCommerce of email marketing. Like it becomes that thing that gets automatically installed with hundreds of thousands of websites in time because it's free. Everybody needs to be able to email their list. Why not include it into the WordPress installation? Like I think that is the best case scenario for Groundhogg. The worst case scenario is it doesn't work, but they've been in business for I think about a year now. And they're monetizing. They've implemented some certification and partners program. They've got some interesting things in the works. It's too early to tell. This is a first impression. Am I endorsing Groundhogg? I think if you want to test it out, if you've got a list of 100,000 people, test it out on something else first. Like run some staging environments. It's a free plugin. Set it up. Link it up with WP Fusion. I'll do a tutorial on this entire setup later on. But I think it's worth testing out. I'm done rambling. I'm John from IncomeEdge.com. If you found this helpful, go ahead and subscribe and like the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.